y dos, y dos, una, y dos, una, y dos.
Hello and welcome to Cortesnyc Livestream, the podcast. This show broadcasts twice a week out of New York City. We are your hosts, Cortesnyc, and this is a special episode of Cortesnyc. This is a special episode 65. This is a special episode because it's a one-on-one, just me and Mr.
Diablo.
What in the house?
Damian back at it. Henny D. But today I'm like drinking Corona, so no Hennessy today.
So we're back here, and we're just talking one-on-one, just the fellas talking. And I figured we'd pick a topic that, some bullshit we would talk about when it's just us hanging around drinking. And I think the best topic would be art, but not just art like visual art, the art of laughter.
What?
The art of comedy.
Comedic art.
Comedic art. I think this is something we always used to enjoy, listening to comedians and while we used to work and all that. And
yeah, we share a similar sense of humor. So
yeah, and then like right now, pre-showing here, and we're like watching some bullshit on Netflix. Some
oh my god,
bombing.
This guy was the worst. He sounded like a bootleg John Oliver. If you know what I'm talking about, just watch this Netflix show. I'm not even gonna say his name because he's that bad.
All right, so let's get this started. Let's talk about the art of comedy, the art of laughter.
Where do you want to take this? Where do you want to start?
Always outside. Let's start with. How about this? Who's the first comedian that you ever saw?
Wow, saw? You mean live
first,
or?
No, even on movies or TVs. Who would be the first comedian that inspired you? That you were like, oh shit, stand-up comedy is funny.
I mean, I think when I first realized it was probably Richard Pryor, no? And he, had all these movies. He had The Toy. I remember that movie because I remember being fucked up. If you don't know what The Toy is, it's about this kid that goes into the store. He's a rich kid. He goes into the mall one day, and he has every fucking toy he can ever want because he's rich. And then he sees Richard Pryor, this black guy in the store.
You can't make that movie now.
Yo, and he buys him. Yo, he's like, yo, Dad, I want him to come home with me and be my toy. And he was his toy. That's how fucked up that movie was.
You gotta Google search that.
Google The Toy, yo. It's so fucked up. Richard Pryor was his toy. And I know Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder, I'm taking it way back. I'm showing my age. They did a lot of movies together. So I think that's like the first time I realized comedy.
I think the first, I would say the first stand-up comedian, I would say was probably Richard Pryor that I paid attention to. But the first comedians in movies would probably like Richard Pryor. I remember going to the movies to see, what was the name of that one? There was a movie with Richard Pryor and
Gene Wilder, yeah.
And Gene Wilder, where they were locked up. They were in.
Yeah.
They went to jail.
Yeah.
That shit made me laugh so bad when I was a kid, man. I went to see that movie. What was that movie? Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder. It wasn't Silver Streak. That was a different one.
They have a lot of. It might have been See No Evil.
Nah, that's later. Stir Crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
That's classic. That's old.
That's really old. We're just showing our age right now.
This
is too much. Let's just fast forward into
that
better times.
Well, after that, then I would say it'd be Eddie Murphy.
It definitely is Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy, Saturday Night Live, the whole Saturday Night Live crowd, like the Bill Murrays and the Dan Aykroyds and all that time period. But I
think Eddie Murphy was my first time seeing a stand-up special. I think I could say that. Like Raw or Delirious.
Yeah.
I think that was my first, because before that, I don't know where you would see comedy in a DVD. Maybe they had Bill Cosby DVDs and all that, but Bill Cosby.
I remember seeing Bill Cosby and
early for the Bill Cosby talk.
And seeing Red Fox, but that was after they were I saw that after the fact. I saw that sometime in the late 80s, 90s.
Yeah, because he had a show and then you're like, oh, he does stand up?
Yeah,
you didn't know that. Yeah.
Exactly.
But Eddie Murphy was similar.
Back then also George Carlin.
Oh, I love George Carlin. I was
George
just watching
Carlin,
this stuff the other day.
Yo, he used to make me laugh, man. He was so like intellectual laughter.
Yeah, but he was like his shit was a little real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was a little real, and then
Yeah.
every now and then he throws in a fuck or motherfucker and makes you laugh. But his shit was based off of real shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so like those comedians, I would say that's the early stuff. And then when I like in Spanish, you know, because I was watching also Spanish comedians. You know, there was like Cantinflas, which is like an old movie Mexican actor, but he wasn't a stand-up comedian. But later on, I found out that he also had like a stand-up act, and he would just play with words. Like he would kind of like come up and just be the clown. You know what I mean? And he would mess around with words and double meanings and double entendres and stuff like that.
Yo, who was that dude back in the day that wore like a crazy hat? Spanish. I think we had a license for him. He had like a crazy hat and a green and white striped shirt. And he looked really funny.
Oh,
like,
El Chavo.
El Chavo, that shit. Yo, did we have a license for that back in Freeze or some
Yeah,
shit?
we did for a quick second.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that guy. Yeah, well, that's along the lines of like Three Stooges and shit, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
that slapstick. They
Like
weren't
slapstick.
stand-up
Yeah.
comedians. They were just following a script or whatever.
They-
But Eddie Murphy was a comedian.
Yeah.
And then turned into a movie star. It
Yeah.
was Saturday Night Live and then movies.
There was this dude, Freddie Prinze, that he was around. He had a show called Chico and the Man, and he was around.
Oh shit! Shout out to Chico and the Grin.
Bring it in there, you see.
Oh shit!
But yeah, he had a show called Chico and the Man, Freddie Prinze, and he was a stand-up comedian. I saw some of his stand-up later, like once I was already much older, and I was like looking at old footage. I remembered his show, but I don't remember it being like It was funny. It was kind of like it reminded me of Sanford and Son, but I don't know if I could say like I was like, oh yeah, he was a stand-up comedian, and I was like into his humor and all that. And I think I was just too little. I was just too young to really know. I think also back then probably you had to be an adult
to get the jokes.
To get the jokes and to maybe even see the stuff, because the shit wasn't on YouTube for
exactly.
you.
And so, just to relate to it, they're talking about real grown-up shit that you know what I mean?
True.
Like you don't get.
True.
Like my job is killing me and take my wife, please. Rodney Dangerfield was one that was from
Rodney Dangerfield,
that
yeah.
I knew of.
Yeah, yeah.
And his one Andrew Dice Clay after that, and
Yep.
raunchy. That was probably like the first raunchy one I've seen, where he's like,
I remember.
hey, fuck you, you know what I mean? Like all that shit.
But those two guys, the funny thing about those guys, they really put on an act, like a personality. Like
Yeah,
Rodney
yeah,
Dangerfield and this guy Andrew Dice Clay, like they put on these
The
characters
tough guy.
that they would perform as, but like that wasn't really them.
So what was the first, I'm gonna fast forward. What was the first time you went to see a comic perform? Or have you ever?
Man, yeah, I would say I was probably in college.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. It was like some small comedy bar, and I went to see
here's what I'm saying. You're saying a comedy bar. I'm saying
an actual comedian.
to go see a specific person.
I don't think I've ever done that.
The only time I've done it is for Dave Chappelle, who I think
really?
is the greatest comedian
Ever of all time?
ever. He gets it on so many levels, yo. But I went to see him, I think, twice, and both times I saw him before, like when he was in Comedy Central days, and then I saw him, after he went to Africa and came back, and he did that comeback. We just recently saw him. Me and my girl, we saw him in Radio City. He made you lock up your phones, yo. You walked in, and they gave you these pouches that locked your phone. You got to put your phone in there, and it locks it, and it won't open until somebody opens it for you.
That's crazy.
But the show was amazing, and he always brings out his show is more like an experience, because then he brings out Erykah Badu or The Roots or you know what I mean,
Right.
Tribe Called Quest.
Right.
If you don't know about this, you'll know nothing. Okay. No, but he was the first time, and that was recently. That's more recently. I don't think I've ever went to see a specific a comedian, but
Yeah.
comedy shows, yes.
I've never paid money to go see a specific comedian, and not that they don't deserve it, but it's just I just never had that drive to say, yo, I gotta go see this guy, because the tickets are really expensive. I mean, even rock bands, like I've gone to see some rock bands. I might have paid maybe once to go see a hip hop act.
Same.
Yeah, hip hop. I
don't like that many people. Is the problem? You know what I mean? Like that's like a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I do it for soccer games, but that's different. Like for some reason, it's different. It's more tribal, right? You're with your supporters. Other people support the same team. To go see a concert, it's like.
So, because we could go on about different comedians, and like I'm seeing a list. Just if you Google search comedians, stand-up comedians, you're gonna find a whole slew of comedians. Chris Rock, now John Mulaney is one of my
Spider-Ham.
Yeah, he's one of my new favorites, man. I saw his stand-ups and it made me laugh out loud. He's really good.
LOL.
You got Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld was great.
I like Jerry.
He's real intellectual. He gets a lot of good ideas out there. And I remember back in the day, Robin Williams used to like impress the shit out of me. But
his impressions and goofy.
So just to kind of say, all right, there's a lot of comedians out there, a lot of funny people, but what the art of making people laugh, the art of comedy, what do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy intellectual comedy, slapstick, props kind of comedy, raw, raunchy comedy? What impersonations, things like that?
I think it's a mixture of everything. I think I have to be in a mood.
They don't all do
no, not a mixture. I'm saying I personally have to be in a mood. Whatever mood I'm in, that's the mood I want to emulate. I want to see, right? I could watch some dumb shit all day. Like my favorite show is Impractical Jokers, and they do dumb shit all day. It's a hilarious show. It makes me laugh, and it's just dumb shit. But then I like, or George Carlin or Jerry Seinfeld or even before all this, Louis C.K., who's very heady and intellectual. And then I like, but I would never go see a stand-up that's purely slapstick, like Carrot Top or some nonsense.
I mean, he's the extreme.
I can watch that slapstick shit on TV. I don't want to see it in front of me. I want to see somebody who says something. Dave Chappelle says something, make you think. You know what I mean?
But then you got comedian, so you have like for example, just looking at the list, you got like a Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld does a lot of let me analyze.
What is the deal?
Let me analyze and talk about the mundane, like the regular shit in life, but I'll make you look at it in a different way. That's interesting.
I love that, yeah.
But it's not, I guess you're right, it's not for every day. Sometimes you do want to go see it. Imagine Jerry Seinfeld going up and cursing and just what the fuck is up with it? But sometimes that's funny too if you have somebody who's relatable, talking the way you talk or the way you wish you could talk.
Yo, you know what
that's
bugged
what
me
it
out?
Is, I think.
What bugged me out, one of the things that bugged me out is that dude from Full House. I forget his name. Yo, but he's exactly like this clean cut dad on the show. And then his comedy is fucking raunchy as hell. He is a dirty, I forgot his name, but he is a dirty, so you see him on TV.
Bob Saget.
Yeah, you see, even his name sounds like fucking clean, like toast. You know what I mean? Like just bland, boring. But he gets up there and he says the nastiest shit, and I like that because we enjoy Howard Stern, and I listen to Howard Stern still to this day.
Well, I mean, that's another reason why this is a good topic here for the podcast because, I mean, this is not a comedy podcast, but we try to have fun, and every once in a while we'll say a few things here and there that kind of make us all laugh, but for the most part, it's not a comedy podcast. There are comedy podcasts that are strictly about comedy, and the people are their aim is to make jokes happen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think Howard Stern is somebody who took talking on a radio into a comedy world and kind of try to make it a funny thing, even though he's very dry, because he would just talk, and it's his attitude that would make you laugh, because you'd be like, wow, he's saying some really fucked up shit, and it would make you laugh. So I guess there's a comedic side to saying some fucked up shit that for shock value will make you laugh. Right?
And then he builds the people around him.
Right.
And makes it even funnier. But he's essentially his whole thing was, I'm gonna just come on the radio and talk like how people talk. People have this weird thing where they pretend to be some way in public, and then in private they're saying the wildest shit. He was just like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just say what's on my mind.
All right, here I got a couple of names to go through. So I was just looking here, and for example, Chris Rock. No, wait. Let's start with Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart. What do you think of Kevin Hart?
I am not a big Kevin Hart fan.
Me neither.
I like some of his movies, but I don't really like his stand-up.
I like his movies more than his stand-up.
Yeah,
and that's saying a lot because his movies aren't great.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, love his stand-up. He's one of those guys that great stand-up can make a movie to save his life.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But his stand-up is on point. Smart. On point.
What about
Dave Chappelle, the best, yes, okay.
Aziz Ansari?
I like Aziz. One time, me and my girl, we went to the comedy club, Comedy Cellar, and he just showed up and did like an hour. And I didn't like him before that, but seeing him live, I was like, oh,
I like Aziz's movie and TV stuff more than
the Netflix show is really good.
Even what he used to do in Parks and Recreation. Like I like that more than his stand-up. I've seen his stand-up and I'm not. I wasn't so like. I was like, okay, it's good, but all right. So talking about impressions, comedians that do impressions, and I just forgot. I was trying to think off the top of my head, comedians that do impressions. I can't even think of them. Back in the day, that was a big thing.
Yeah, Rich Little or something.
But now you got Russell Peters.
I love Russell Peters.
Russell Peters is all.
He doesn't really do an impression. He does an impression of a race, but it's not of a person.
He does racial impressions
not
across
a
the board,
yeah.
though. But
he's good at that. Yeah.
He specifies mostly on
Asian.
On Asian.
Yeah,
on Asian. He loves doing that.
Yeah.
I think he almost plays it out.
It's getting a little played out.
Right? He kind of runs it a little bit.
Yo, I used to like Dane Cook.
I used to like Dane Cook.
People hate him. We used to listen to Dane Cook.
Yeah, I used to like him. I thought it was funny. Back in the day, he was funny.
Where the fuck did he go?
It was the whole controversy. I think he rubbed people the wrong way and he got blacklisted.
Oh.
Yeah, because it was the whole controversy about him stealing jokes and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
See, like I'm seeing Adam Sandler here on the list.
No, that's not my kind of thing.
Like he's a dude that he's filler for a movie and that's about it.
Yeah.
What else we got here? We got Dane Cook there, Jay Leno.
Fuck, that's whack.
How
about females, yo? You gotta give the females a shot. There's a thing for men, right? A lot of men. I'm gonna speak for a few. They don't think female comics are funny.
Like I saw. Well, I don't like Amy Schumer.
Oh, see, look at him. He's proving my point right now.
I don't like her. She rubs me the wrong way.
You like Sarah Silverman? See, it's hard. Guys are weird like that. I like Sarah.
Who was making me laugh the other day? I was watching some shit and maybe making
Wanda Sykes, maybe.
She's hilarious, but no. I think it's I forgot her name. But I also saw the lady from Saturday Night Live.
Which one? The main one, Kate McKinnon, or no, not my girl from Bridesmaids.
Shit.
From Bridesmaids, you talking about? She's not on it anymore.
It's hard for me to keep track now, but why does that happen?
She's not currently on Saturday Night Live, right?
No.
Oh, so yeah, it's one. There's one from Parks and Amy Poehler. And her best friend, yeah, what's her name? There's two of them. Shit.
What about Pat Oswalt?
He's all right. Pat Oswalt, he's all right. I'm not a big fan. I really liked Louis C.K. His whole last special was really funny. But now he's all caught up in this Me Too shit, jerking off in front of people and shit. So, you know what I mean? Whatever. It is whatever. I can still like his work, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, for real. You gotta separate.
I used to like his stuff. I can't say I didn't. It was okay, but I wasn't like a big fan. Like I could see him flop and I'd be like, whatever. This guy Brian Regan used to be kind of funny.
Brian Regan is good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
What about, here's another thing. Comics are usually dark people. A lot of them kill themselves. We're getting dark.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams.
Yeah, I don't want to end on
Greg
a dark
Giraldo. You could go on forever.
That's true.
Richard Pryor. Well,
That's
he
true.
just got, and Chris Farley, like Artie Lang was just like stabbing himself the other day.
What?
Yeah, he tried to kill himself. Stab himself. They're dark people. I guess that's how they get through it with comedy, I guess.
I feel like we're leaving out a bunch of comedians, but
no,
there's just too many. There's too many.
We could go on for this for 5 hours.
All right, guys, stay laughing.
Comedy all day.
Separa menos tiempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Culture Talk
Culture talk.
Without Carla.
Comedy culture.
Comedy culture. All right, so
How it's affecting the culture.
I think you're right. We should keep talking about this subject, comedy and comedians, right? But let's talk about it culturally. How does it affect the culture? Or how has the culture of comedy in the United States, let's talk about American comedians, how has things been affected now with the times changing?
No.
So we were talking about our first comedians that we ever saw. Some of them were really raunchy. Some of them had more shock value. Even the ones that had intellectual things to say, I'm sure if you look at their comedy under a microscope, you're gonna find things that are offensive to somebody or improper to somebody.
I mean, we touched on it a little bit when I told you about that movie, The Toy, and you're like, that could never be made today.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a different environment, and it's fucking shit up, yo. All you PC people out there, relax, yo. Sometimes it's jokes, okay? Jokes are good, okay?
So I think you and I are gonna be on two sides of the fence here, because not that I am the most politically correct person, but I do think that some things do need updating. Some ideas do need updating. Some old jokes need to just fade away.
No, I agree.
I don't think you do.
No, I agree with that part.
I think you want people to say this, that, and
No. I agree with that part. But I don't agree with getting offended at every little thing or looking for something to be offended at.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the culture now of America, because it's so divided, right? There's, the left, the right. These guys on the right are stupid. We're smart on the left. The left is a bunch of elitists. It's all this separation. So everybody's looking for a reason to get offended.
All right. Well, let's. Right there, I got a good one. All right. So let's talk about political correctness and how maybe 4 years ago it wasn't so crazy. I'm even gonna say 3 years ago. But ever since we have Trump in the fucking White House, I remember people saying it, that Trump would fuck up comedy, because when you have the president being a fucking walking joke, there's no way to write a joke anymore. Yeah. And when you have the president using the phrase political correctness as a weapon, then it's even harder, because now you can't distinguish between what is political correctness and what is just a lot of bullshit. I think that's another problem there.
Another episode, though.
Because you have what you just said is correct. There are a lot of people that are like dissecting shit and trying to look for offense in something.
So they can have a cause.
But there are other people who are pushing the button and being extra offensive now.
Yeah.
And then they just want to do it to be able to be like, what? Why are you being so sensitive? Why, what's wrong with, why are you being so politically correct? What's wrong?
Yeah, there's both sides of it. And that PC thing is crazy, because the people that are saying that's not PC, their president is not the most PC dude. You know what I mean? He says the wildest shit. And I sometimes I can admire that. Sometimes it's like, yo, you need to relax.
But like if you have like the people quote unquote the people, I want to say in charge, or let's say the talking heads on TV, the ones that are supposed to be straight laced. When you have people like that talking bullshit, saying crazy shit, talking off the cuff, being shocking, then like what chance do you have to discern? Like how do you discern what is really politically correct and what is just an excuse to cover something else up? Because politically correct used to be used as an expression to say, let's kind of be respectful of everyone's perspective. Let's kind of be respectful. That's all it used to be, politically correctness. It wasn't censor anything.
Yeah.
It was more like, let's just be respectful. Let's be mindful and choose this option over that option when you're going to say something. Just think before you speak. Now it's, let me say with the intention to hide behind it. Now people are doing that.
Well, that's hard to discern. But for me, when it comes to comedy, my general rule is, if it's funny, then don't get offended at it. It's just, people joke about the craziest shit because that's what life is. Like, life is shit. Sometimes you need to laugh about the bad shit that happens.
All right, but then I'll debate this with you a little bit.
Yes. Love debating.
You got let's say people that would used to say offensive shit because it was shocking or it was it was outlandish. You know what I mean? Like people might have said crazy shit back in the day. Let's say in the 60s, the 70s, people might have said crazy shit because you'd be like, well, that's totally ridiculous and out of this world. That could never be a reality. So then go ahead and say whatever the fuck you want because you look crazy. You look like a comedian. You look like you're being a comedian because obviously what you're saying cannot be true. Nowadays, some of those same things, if you say them, they can be true. And now it's not so far-fetched. And now a comedian saying those same things, you need to update your material. You need to kind of say things that are now and not still be saying the offensive things from back in the day that now are just offensive. They're not even funny anymore. That's where I think some of the comedians and some of the thinking is going, where you might have comedians that or people that are hiding behind, oh, it's comedy, and they're saying some things that are just shocking or offensive, and they're just like, well, it's comedy. Look, they've been saying it for so many years. But comedy is a thing that has an expiration date. You can't say the same jokes over and over again and still be funny. That's so true. I feel like some people that are hiding behind the thing of like, oh, that's just comedy. Yeah, but maybe that comedy's dead already. Like maybe you need to move on.
But I think you could tell those people. Those people that aren't really good at their craft and they're just saying things like that to hide behind it. Or people who generally have a good premise and turns it into an amazing punchline. Well, like that is something I can respect. Dave Chappelle does that all the time. He might say some offensive shit, but it's funny.
Well, but now you have the straight-laced people saying fucked up shit and then turning in and saying, well, it's comedy, or I didn't mean it, or it was have a sense of humor.
Well, they're fucking morons. Well, they're not funny. Well, we know they're not funny.
I mean, but there's people in this world, like in society around you all the time, that are trying to get away with shit by saying like, well, but it's just me being funny. I'm just trying to be funny. And
like if we say some offensive shit to each other, we know who we are, right? So we can do it, and you know how we interact. But
so if you said something, you've said offensive shit to me in the past.
Of course, sure I have.
under the premise of, well, it's humor, right?
Right, and likewise.
Sometimes you're funny, sometimes you're not so funny, and I think that's
a lie.
And I think
that's offensive to me.
And I think that's where the point is. That the point is, you need to read the room. You need to know who you're talking to. And if you're and that's where political correctness used to come in. If you're gonna speak to a mass crowd, you can't say the same shit that you would say one-on-one. And if you're gonna say shit one-on-one, you gotta know your crowd. You gotta know how they're gonna react to it.
Here's the thing,
it's gotta be funny. If you're gonna say some offensive shit and hide behind comedy, make sure it's funny first.
Right, that's the whole premise.
Nah, you weren't saying that. You weren't saying that.
But you think?
No, you weren't.
You don't think it having that all this shit having on like the minds of comedians, now they have to think of all this shit. You think that kills true creativity, true humor, because they have to suppress it or try to craft it so that's more wholesome? It's like, I could serve you an amazing fucking taco off the street because I know what I'm making, but then Taco Bell's gonna take it and fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
Fucking make it into this like commercial thing. And now, is it the same? Don't you want that street taco more? You know what I'm saying?
I think comedians need to change the game up. They need to change it up. That's the thing.
I must be hungry talking about tacos. Yeah, it's weird.
But I think that's where things have to change up. You have generations. You have eras of certain type of comedy, and I think we're in an era right now where you're gonna have to. If you're a comedian coming up, you're gonna have to change it up. And if you're an old comedian that you're still trying to do the same old style and trying to be like, oh, but come on, let me be. Well, your game just changed. You know what's funny? Talking about games changing and offensive shit. I was watching, because we were talking about Tiny Desk, the performances on YouTube. If anybody goes out there, Google search YouTube Tiny Desk performances
on NPR.
NPR Tiny Desk, and they have like a whole bunch. But we were fucking geeking out on like some old school rappers that had like some performances, and they're just performing like with a small set, a small little band or whatever. But I saw Wu-Tang. They had their Tiny Desk session.
That wasn't really Wu-Tang, let's be real.
Wu-Tang minus the main guys.
No Ghostface, no Method Man. Come on now.
But what I caught that stood out to me was the RZA dropped a verse, and somewhere in the middle of his verse, I guess the original lyrics were supposed to be offensive, and he said some shit and said, ain't gonna say that because blah, 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 me too, and then kept going.
Okay.
If you didn't catch that, rewind that and catch that. He said some shit. Yeah, so then I started thinking about it, I'm like, wow, man, like, so like even rappers that might have said offensive shit back in the day, not all of them, but some of them who might realize it doesn't flow with which direction they're going with now, they might have to change their game up. They might have to like not perform that song anymore or not perform that verse anymore. They might have to switch it up because it's a new temperature out there.
Landscape is changing.
Yeah,
but you're gonna change rap. But rap is
like most rappers won't give a shit. I don't think
it's gotten progressively more derogatory than less. You know what I mean? It's even getting worse now.
But like I'm thinking of the dudes who are big now, who have something to risk. Like if you're a little young rapper, you ain't got no money, you ain't got nothing, you're just coming out, you're just hustling. You're not gonna give a shit who thinks what about you. But if you're an older rapper who has old material that is misogynistic or offensive to some people, and then you're gonna try to come out now, like, boom, Pingo, Ice Cube. I was listening to Ice Cube's new album because it was suggested to me by Mr. Grin to listen to Ice Cube's album. Thank you, Mr. Grin. Ice Cube came out with a new album. Ice Cube was the most offensive at a time period. The most offensive rapper when he was first coming out. It was like, whoa! Now you hear it with the shit he used to say, and you're like, well, it's whatever. It's kind of normal. Yeah, it's kind of normal. But I listened to the new album, and the new album, the music sounds like fucking G-Unit produced it. It's like all these hard, but 2000 beats. It's like 10 years too late. 20 years too late.
I think you get stuck in there's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But I think you get stuck in your era that was your favorite era, and that's the era you stay in.
But
like
that was
90s hip hop.
But that was never his era.
No.
That was never his era. It's like he's trying to be modern, but he came out 2000s modern. But anyway, so he just came out with a new album now, and it sounds like it was made in the year 2000. But his lyrics, it's funny because when you hear his lyrics, it sounds like a grown man trying not to offend too many people. Like he does say some things that are just like cursing, and you're like, well, you're having a great time saying fuck this and fuck that, like it's a big deal now. It's not a big deal anymore to say fuck this on record. Like people say fuck this all the time. I'm saying fuck this right now. What?
Yeah, watch your language, son.
And to hear a rapper say fuck this on a brand new album is kind of like fuck, like it's a big deal. It's like, nah, that's not shocking anybody. And then the stuff that he could be saying that could be shocking, you hear the lyrics and you're like, you're trying to be clean, you're cleaning it up. Like you're really trying to not offend. And it's like, well, Ice Cube's got things on the line.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I know he's trying to still be Ice Cube, but at the same time, he makes family-oriented movies.
But out there, people losing their jobs and shit, their livelihood, just from saying something. Like, all the comedians. Roseanne, she crazy. She came out and said some wild shit. But lost her job. He lost her shit.
But she really had to have... That's the thing, though. I mean, you really got to have it in for somebody.
No, this is what I'm saying. Her shit wasn't even funny.
She knows better.
Hers wasn't funny. Here's the whole point. Hers wasn't funny, and there was malice behind it. There's one thing if it's funny and love, because there's roasts, and they're saying the most fucked up shit about people, but it's out of love. So her shit, you could tell, was just malice in it. And it wasn't funny. So that's where you get into problems. As long as your shit is funny, I think a lot of people should just be like, just relax. Just trying to be funny. I
mean, but I know we're going into this conversation about political correctness and comedians and all that because I know that I can sense that you have a point of view of like some of these people are being unfairly judged. But I do think...
Well, not Roseanne. She's an idiot.
Well, but I do think that with all the information we have and the people that are being judged are people that should know better. That's what I think. I think that the people that are being judged really should have known better. It's not like they're being caught out there with their pants down, literally, off guard, like, oh shit, nobody ever told me. Nah, you knew better. You were pushing your luck. You spent years doing shit, pushing your luck, hoping nobody would get offended or that you keep crossing. You're a habitual line crosser.
That's another good.
Bring that back. You're a habitual line crosser. And now that you finally crossed that last line, you're going to be like, what? I'm just a comedian. What's wrong? Well, your time's up. Like, you've been doing this for a long time.
He's dropping all the hashtags.
The jewels, all
time's
the jewels.
up. Me too. All this stuff. What? Get out of here. Who are you?
Nah,
I don't even know you anymore.
But I think that's my point, is that a lot of the people that are being caught out there are people that are either older, seasoned comedians. They've been around showbiz for a long time. They should have known better. And I think that's why the media takes them to task, is because they actually have been pushing the line for so long that they have to be made examples of, is my opinion. I think that's what's happening. Maybe people don't like that.
My thing with the whole thing, real quick, is just that when you keep pitting people against each other, there's no way for us to unite. When I come out and I say a joke about an observation about a certain people, it might be on some stupid shit, but it's a funny observation based on something that's fairly true. Not really true, but fairly true. I just think that if you keep putting people against each other, people don't get to see how closely they relate to one another. So I'm just not with that. I'm just with like, yo, we're all people. We all bleed, we all die.
Dave Chappelle touched on political correctness in his last stand-up. He had a great show on Netflix.
Awesome.
You wanted me to teach you, right? This is street reality.
Hablando español, and guess who's here? Guess who snuck into the studio?
Yes, it's me.
What?
Carla made it into the studio. She would not let us go on without her.
You gotta do the hablando español. You gotta learn Spanish.
Para tú.
All right. So anyway, listen, we had just talked about comedy, and I don't think we emphasized it enough. Dave Chappelle, shout out to him. If you guys haven't seen it, go check him out on Netflix. He just had a series. I think it was two comedy shows that he did.
It was like three of them.
Yeah.
He did a little series on Netflix where he kind of made a comeback, and like he's definitely a comedian from our time period. He's like our generation's everything, because he does everything. He does intellectual stuff. He's done the goofy hood stuff. He's done like social shit. He's done shit that's too real, that is too serious. And like, yo, I just don't think we emphasize it enough. Dave Chappelle, shout out to him. All right, let's do the Hablando Español. Carla, what words you got?
Yeah, so I have, how do you say stand-up comedy in Spanish? Which actually...
Levántate. And then comedy.
Levántate y ríe.
Yeah.
Which actually we don't have a specific word for it in Spanish, but I'll say what Google Translator said.
All right, so what is it?
Okay, so it's Comedia en Vivo.
Oh, so live comedy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Live comedy.
Live comedy.
All right, that works.
I know
Comedia
en vivo
en
from
Vivo.
all the soccer games.
Yeah. there you
En
go.
vivo.
Uh-huh.
All right, what else?
Okay,
So,
next one.
Comedia en Vivo.
Comedia en Vivo.
All right.
Next one is political correctness. How do you say?
Is there?
I don't even.
Yeah.
PC. There you go.
Say.
PC. Well, actually, according to Google too, because this word I actually heard it more here, being in the United States and in the news and everything else.
Okay.
So it says that is corrección política. Which is a weird term.
Corrección.
Correct your political
Corrección
shit.
política. But I think it's almost like being respectful in a way.
Right.
So, ser respetuoso o políticamente correcto, quizás.
I
más
like that description better.
que políticamente correcto.
Yeah.
More than corrección política. Because, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Correcto.
Políticamente.
Políticamente correcto.
There you go. What?
Awesome.
More fire.
Okay, so how do you say offensive?
Damien.
Ofensiva.
Almost.
Ofensivo.
There
Yes.
you go. There you go.
2 right now. Yo. What?
Okay, the next one is funny. How do you say funny?
Shit, I feel like I know this.
You should know that one. You should definitely know that
Yeah.
I know this. I'm gonna be so disappointed when you tell me.
Okay, so
Say it. I'm gonna say it at the same time as you. Go. Hey,
Gracioso.
Gracioso. There it is.
Gracioso.
Gracioso, or the one that Chris knows, chistoso.
Chistoso.
How did you know I knew that one?
Because I know that the other word that we have, jokes, you said that also is another word, but I said another word, but whatever. Okay, funny is chistoso
Chistoso.
or
Gracioso.
there you go.
Is that like thank you or something?
Exactly, that's what throws me off. And also, like, gracioso makes me think of gracefulness.
Grasas.
No, I was thinking like gracefulness.
Oh. No.
Carla is graceful.
So
I'm very
gracioso.
grateful.
Gracioso is
Sounds
humorous.
like grateful, more like.
Yeah.
Humorous.
Humorous.
All right.
Okay. Next
yeah, you know
one.
what? I think
what?
I think that's a good distinction.
What?
You can say something's gracioso,
Yeah.
almost like it's humorous, like it's entertaining, like oh that's nice, like that's humorous. Chistoso is like it's funny, like chistoso will make you laugh. Gracioso can make you smile.
I
Oh,
gotcha.
okay.
It's like LOL and Like
LMAO. Yeah, roll around. And
Oh, okay.
how do you say LOL in Spanish?
lol.
Lol.
Lols.
Okay, next one is comedian.
Comedian.
Did we?
How do you say
Ooh.
comedian?
No clue. Comedian. I don't know.
Almost.
Almost.
Comediante.
I was gonna say that, but then I thought of like Commandant.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
getting too militant or something.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
So, comediante.
Comediante. All right.
Next one is shocking. How do you say shocking?
Wow. Electrocuto.
Electrificante.
He's actually, you know,
Yeah, that's mad
you're taking,
electrocuto, yeah.
You're taking good guesses.
Yeah.
Hey, it's it's basic.
Yeah.
It's
So,
based off a root word from Latin, all of our languages. So
that's true.
True.
So, there's two words. There's chocante.
that sounds violent.
Chocante.
Sounds like you're
I've
choking
heard,
somebody.
I've heard that. I've
Which
never.
means something that shocks you.
I've never used it. I always thought it was like slang.
Yeah, no. But chocante. Something is chocante.
How do you
Or
chocante with CH?
CHOCANTE.
Sounds like choking.
Chocante.
Chocante.
Okay.
And there's another one.
Chocante you later.
Chocante or escandaloso.
Oh, that's like scandalous.
Escandalous,
Yeah,
like scandalous.
escandaloso.
Yeah. Escandaloso. Because it's something, if
And
it's.
how is that shocking? Oh, okay. All right, I get it.
Because it can be something, if a comedian said something shocking,
It's a
puede
scandal,
ser
yeah,
escandaloso because it's like, oh my God, how did he say that? Oh, on a
Alright.
comedy special.
Got it.
Okay. Next one is jokes. How do you say jokes?
I thought you were gonna say yolks.
No.
Egg yolks? I don't know how to say that either. I don't know how to say jokes either.
Gemma. Egg
Gemma.
yolks is gemma.
Yo, I be dropping mad
Gemmas,
gemmas, by
son.
the way. Gems all day.
All right. So jokes. How do you say jokes?
You say
Gemma.
No.
the other jokes. Broma or chiste.
Okay.
Ah,
There's a
I
distinction
should've
there.
known. Damn it.
For
Yeah.
me, there's a distinction. So for me, a chiste is like a joke, like a written joke, like a story joke. And a broma is like a prank.
That's true, actually.
So
Yeah.
when somebody says, a broma, it's like, let's pull a prank on somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking
true.
hate pranks.
Okay, next one is clown. How you say clown?
Shit, I feel like I know this.
You should
You know
definitely know that
this.
one.
I know.
You got this, D. You got this.
I don't got it. I'm so ashamed.
Payaso is
I
clown.
don't know.
Payaso.
I've never heard that before in my life.
The last one is el chavo. How do you say el chavo?
El Chavo.
Not El Chapo.
Oh shit, nobody talking about El Chapo here.
Actually,
the
that
kid.
was wrong. Yes.
El Chavo.
Because I said it in Spanish.
El Chavo is the kid.
Yeah, the guy
Or
with the
the
green
scent.
fucking hat, the green.
Or if you're
Right.
speaking with a Puerto Rican, maybe the cent, 1 cent.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Chavo can also be like small
Money.
change.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right, we made it through another episode, guys.
Did it.
Episode 65, and all in the
it.
bag.
That was a serious conversation about comedy.
I feel like, and we squeezed all the comedy towards the end because Carla showed up.
We
Yay.
took all the comedy out of the conversation about comedy.
All right, guys, catch you guys next episode.
Peace.